Hi, everybody. It's Laura Eisenhower. I'm joined today by a very special guest. His name is 𝗏𝘆𝗀𝗃, and we've been working together lately, have some really exciting things to share with you about some collaborations with an EMF product and also an incredible event that's happening November 1st. But I just want to hand it over to you so you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. And yeah, let's dive right into it.
Cool. Thank you, Laura. So my name is 𝗏𝘆𝗀𝗃, and I graduated from the University of Iowa. I studied health science, and that's really been my big passion for really the past like 10, 12 years. The schooling aspect was fine, but as you know, Laura, like the real schooling is life and like what we're learning in our life and what we're learning from non-mainstream sources of information. So I've actually worked as a nutritional health coach in the health and wellness field. The nutrition and overall health and wellness is my big passion. And from there, I've also been working with a few other companies on their boards. One of them is the Master Shift, organizing mass meditations and things like that. Yeah, so the health and wellness, it's just who I am and what I love to do. And yeah, I just love sharing the information that I know, because that's really what it comes down to, is sharing information so that we can help others. We help ourselves, but also help others.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And just to, just start with the project, the mass meditation and prayer called Protect the Vote Mass Meditation and Prayer. That's happening November 1st with John D'Souza, David Rodriguez, Sasha Stone, and myself, with you, Kaylin Ann, and Justin Deschamps as hosts, but a whole lot of other stuff going on as well, like music and poetry, I believe. And you can tell us a little bit more about it. But how did you get this idea, and why the timing for the election?
So, with the board that I'm on with the Master Shift, I've helped to organize some mass meditations. I know you know all about it and like the effect and power that they have, and we'll get into some of the science of that. But I've been thinking about really over the past like 10, 12 months, like there needs to be another big one that we do, and I want to help organize one. And I just didn't know what the timing would be. And then back in June, I actually read this tweet from someone you know very well, David Rodriguez, and he was talking about the power of mass meditation and mass prayer. And he didn't talk anything about the election, but for some reason, when I read that tweet of his, the idea like shot down like a lightning bolt into my brain. The meditation needs to be on or around the election. So I basically talked to Justin at Stillness and pitched the idea to him. He was 100% on board. He got Kaylin involved, and we've really, taken it to a whole nother level. But I do want to add that Justin and Kaylin have done a phenomenal job putting this together, and they deserve full credit for really making this what it is. They've gone above and beyond to put a lot of time into perfecting this and getting it right. And we're really wanting this to get out in a big way. You, John, Sasha, and David, big names with a lot of credibility and followers. And so we know that we can get this out there in a big way.
Yes. So you talked about how, the mass prayers and meditations, work. I'm not sure if you want to add anything more to that, but what is the Global Consciousness Project?
Yeah. Okay. So this is one of the aspects of how this stuff works. So mass prayer and mass meditation. So the Global Consciousness Project is a group of physicists and scientists from around the world. And it's actually being run through Princeton, through one professor specifically. They have 141 what are called random number generators that are all around the world. And these are basically like little computers that they use a process called quantum tunneling. And they're basically producing little bits of information, like random sequences of zeros and ones. Okay, and so what happens is when a big event happens in the world, So like they've studied the passing of Princess Diana, 9/11, various meditations and prayers, things like that. They can see how these zeros and ones will basically organize and subtly structure in a way that is conclusive to showing that there is such thing as a global consciousness or a collective consciousness or noosphere, whatever you want to call it. They've done mathematical analysis on this, and they've proven that the odds of what they're finding is less than one. The odds of that being occurring due to chance is less than 1 in 1 trillion. So they know that it works. And like, this is incredible stuff, because, you know this, Laura, that people who are in this, this awakening niche or genre, or whatever you want to call it, there's a lot of discrediting, for the spiritual phenomena and all of that stuff, because there's no science to prove it. But that's not true at all. There's plenty of science. It's just a matter of that. A lot of that's hidden, and a lot of that is, intentionally discredited. So what the Global Consciousness Project is doing is pretty incredible.
That's excellent. And you talk about also the Maharishi Effect. What is that all about?
Yeah, so that is another phenomenon. That's basically the concept of us coming together to meditate or pray has been shown to reduce violence and basically create a more peaceful and harmonious world. So there's a lot of studies on this as well, but the one that I want to talk about, it was the first one done, and it really gives a lot of credence to what this is. So back in the early 1980s, during the peak of the Lebanon War, there was basically scientists wanted to see if this phenomenon was real. So they gathered a bunch of meditators. There's about 1,000 of them, and they went into Israel, and they were meditating night and morning for about 3 weeks. And they found that basically the war deaths, the casualties, and the number of bombs dropped by about 70 to 80%. They also ran mathematical analysis and showed that the odds of that being just due to random chance was less than 1 in 10,000. So again, like, it's real. This phenomenon is real. So where this goes like even deeper is that Yale University was the one that was actually studying this. So, mainstream, high academic university. And they were looking at the data for about 2 years. And they were analyzing it constantly, and they came to the conclusion that they had no choice but to publish it, because it was done with such scientific rigor that it was basically incorruptible. It was not, just a woo-woo basics study. It was highly done. And then they published it with a note saying, we want others to go out and prove this to see if it's real as well. 7 other groups and scientists did this over the next 2 years and found the same things. And then the odds of that happening due to random chance were 1 in 10 million. So again, like, the science is real. We know it's there. It's happening. And like, this is a technology for humanity to use to come together and literally shift physical reality.
Yes, and it counteracts the social engineering and the mind control, because as long as we're distracted or tuned into something like the television, and we're being, our creative energy is being harnessed by these other, forces, we can lose that capacity to have focused intent. So that's so huge, because the focused intent, is our creative power. So
Absolutely. Laura, how many mass meditations have you been involved with, like on a public level?
On a public level? Quite a lot.
That's awesome.
Like 4 or 5 a year, maybe, for the last 10 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I did a lot of just meditation before I was a public person, and it was very much based on exactly what you've shared. And I could see the effects with healing, with just steering a person out of danger, you know, putting protective shields around a person, just holding that intent. So, you know, it's obvious why we would want to do this around election time, but in your own words, how would you explain, you know, just this around election time?
Yeah. So, okay. So something with the Maharishi effect, Maharishi talked about the unified field, and this also relates to something called the Meissner effect, which basically is saying that when someone, when energy states are superconductive, basically negative energy cannot penetrate that strong core and it just has to flow off of it. Okay. And so he actually wrote a very scientific paper and proposed it to entire nations and said, if you want a indestructible nation, both militarily and, societally, then mass meditation and prayer. So the way that I tie this into the election is that I feel like if we have a mass prayer and meditation, all focused with love, peace, joy, and confidence and faith in our hearts, that we can create this unified, strengthened field for a fair and safe election, so that no malevolent forces can try to intervene and get their claws in on this. I really view it as like it's spiritual protection for our sacred right to fair and equal voting processes.
Beautiful. That's so huge. And the time of the event on November 1st, what time will that be, and what's going to happen, and who is kind of on board besides, the speakers and the host? Because I saw a whole lot, like I think a panel too, right?
Yeah. Okay. So it's on November 1st, and we're having a big event where, like you said, there's going to be speakers. We're going to be talking about different aspects of health, spirituality / religion, and law, and kind of tying that all into the sacred process of voting and sovereignty and choosing one's own direction or collective direction. And so basically this event is going to be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time as the whole event. But the actual meditation part is going to be from 12:30 to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's when, there's going to be a small meditation, some poetry, and some sound healing as well. So the biggest thing and the biggest message to take away from that is, if you can't attend the whole event, that's fine. But 12:30 to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when, that's the most important aspect of this. We want people joining at that time. If you can't join at that time, prayer, meditate sometime outside of that during the day. It's still going to have an impact. Even if you can do it for a minute or two, it's still going to make a positive impact. So we're really calling on people to make memes, make videos, write articles, and get this word out there.
Excellent. Where can people read the article, though, and learn more about you as far as what's available, like in the immediate?
Yeah. So to sign up for the event, it's protectthevote.live. Okay. And then you'll get to a landing page where we've got some information and some pictures. And you just put in your basic information, name and email. And then you'll get a confirmation email that says you're registered for the event. That's like the Zoom webinar event that we're having with all the speakers. And then down at the bottom, we have an article that we put together that talks about the Maharishi Effect, the Global Consciousness Project, all of this kind of the science with it, but then also the intention that we've put. So it's just another asset for people to use to spread this message.
Excellent. I'm so grateful to be a part of it. I'm so glad you guys are doing this. I feel so much better about everything, just, that these kind of events take place. It's so crucial. And it's really amazing. Much gratitude to all of you guys for putting it together. And thanks so much for talking to us today, Lance.
Yeah, thank you, Laura.
Awesome. Take care, everybody. All the info will be in the description, including the product that we're both working on distributing to people the EMF products. All right, thanks. Take care. Bye.